Commander Jake Morrison floated in the cold darkness of space, staring at what remained of humanity's first diplomatic ship. The Meridian had been Earth's pride, carrying 27 of humanity's best diplomats, scientists, and military officers to meet the Galactic Council. Now it was nothing but twisted metal and frozen corpses drifting in the void near Alpha Centauri. Jake's hands shook as he guided his rescue shuttle closer to the wreckage. 3 years of careful communication with the Council had led to this moment. 3 years of learning their languages, understanding their customs, preparing for peaceful contact with an advanced galactic civilization. All of it had been lies. "Commander, we're picking up a weak signal from Section 7, called out Lieutenant Mike Rogers from the pilot's seat. "Looks like an escape pod." Jake's heart jumped. Maybe someone had survived. Maybe someone could tell them what really happened out here. The official council message had been brief and cold. The human delegation suffered a tragic accident during approach. We mourn their loss and will investigate thoroughly. But the debris field told a different story. Jake had seen enough battles to recognize weapon damage when he saw it. These weren't the marks of an accident or system failure. The Meridian had been attacked, hit by multiple energy weapons at close range. Someone had deliberately destroyed Earth's peace mission. The rescue team found Dr. Lisa Harper barely alive in the escape pod, her life support systems failing. She was Earth's top expert on alien biology, chosen specifically for the first contact mission. As they brought her aboard and stabilized her condition, she grabbed Jake's arm with surprising strength. "They knew," she whispered, her voice hoarse and desperate. "The Council knew everything about us. They had been watching us for decades. This was never about peace." Jake leaned closer. "What happened out there, Doc?" Lisa's eyes filled with tears and rage. "We followed their approach vectors exactly. Did everything they asked. Captain Bill Henderson was so careful, so hopeful. We all were. Then their ships appeared around us. Not a welcome party. A firing squad." She took a shaky breath and continued. "Their leader, some creature called Zephyrian Prime, sent a message before they opened fire. He said humanity was a contamination that needed to be cleansed. Said we bred too fast, advanced too quickly, asked too many questions. Said we would threaten their perfect order if we were allowed to spread among the stars." Jake felt ice form in his stomach. "How did you escape?" "Bill shoved me into the pod, right before the bridge exploded. He knew what was happening. We all did. In those final moments. The Council had been lying to us from the very beginning. They never intended to let us join their galactic community. They just wanted to lure us out of our solar system where they could kill us quietly." The rescue shuttle's communication system crackled to life. Admiral Ron Carter's voice came through from Earth orbit. "Morrison, what's your status? Did you find survivors?" Jake looked at Lisa, who nodded weakly. "Yes, sir. One survivor. Dr. Harper from the science team. Admiral, you need to know something. The Meridian wasn't destroyed by accident. The Council attacked them deliberately." There was a long silence on the channel. When Carter spoke again, his voice was hard as steel. "Bring her home immediately. I'm calling an emergency session of the Defense Council. It seems our preparations weren't as paranoid as some people thought." As they traveled back toward Earth, Lisa told Jake everything she remembered about the attack. The Council ships had used weapons far more advanced than anything Earth possessed. They moved with precision and coordination that spoke of long practice. This wasn't their first time destroying a peaceful delegation. "There's something else," Lisa said as Earth grew larger in the view screen. "Right before the attack, I heard their communications. They were speaking in their own language, but I understood enough. They mentioned other species, other contaminations they had dealt with. Jake, I think we're not the first civilization they've done this to. Jake felt a cold anger building in his chest. Humanity had approached the council with open hands and honest hearts. They had shared their culture, their history, their hopes for the future. They had dreamed of learning from older, wiser species and contributing to a peaceful galactic community. Instead, they had found monsters who saw them as nothing more than a problem to be eliminated. When they docked at Luna Station, Admiral Carter was waiting with a full security team. Lisa was rushed to the medical bay while Jake was debriefed in a secure chamber. He told Carter everything, watching the old Admiral's face grow darker with each detail. 27 good people, Carter muttered. 27 of our best sent, out there like lambs to slaughter. He looked up at Jake with eyes full of grim determination. How much did they tell the Council about our defensive capabilities? Jake checked his mission files. Everything in the standard first contact package. Our major cities, population centers, industrial capacity, basic information about our military forces and technology levels. Carter nodded slowly. Basic information. Not everything. He stood and walked to the sealed vault at the back of the room. Jake, what I'm about to show you is classified at the highest levels. Even most of the Defense Council doesn't know the full scope. The Admiral opened the vault and pulled out a data pad. For 50 years, ever since we first detected radio signals from other civilizations, a small group of military planners have been preparing for this exact scenario. They called it the Paranoid Protocol, the assumption that any alien contact might be hostile. Jake stared at the data pad as Carter handed it to him. The files contained information about secret military installations throughout the solar system, hidden weapons platforms, and experimental technologies that were decades ahead of anything the public knew about. We've been building a defense network in secret, Carter explained. Asteroid bases, stealth ships, weapons systems that make our public military look like children with toys. The Council thinks they know what humanity is capable of. They're about to learn how wrong they are. As Jake read through the files, he felt his anger transform into something colder and more focused. The Council had made a terrible mistake. They had tried to kill humanity based on incomplete information, thinking they were destroying a weak and naive species. Instead, they had just declared war on the most dangerous predators their galaxy had ever seen. And unlike the Council, when humans made war, they didn't hide behind lies and deception. They brought overwhelming force and absolute determination to protect their own. The Council wanted to cleanse the galaxy of human contamination. They were about to discover that some contaminations spread faster when you try to burn them out. Captain Amy Foster sat in the darkened intelligence center beneath the Rocky Mountains, surrounded by screens showing intercepted alien communications. For 2 weeks since the Meridian Massacre, Earth's best code breakers and linguists had been working around the clock to crack the Council's encrypted channels. Amy had been the first to break through their security protocols. What she found made her stomach turn. Admiral Carter, you need to see this, she called across the command center. The gray-haired admiral walked over, his face showing the strain of sleepless nights since learning about the attack. What do you have, Captain? Amy pointed to the translation scrolling across her main screen. This is a communication between Council member Zephyrian Prime and someone called the High Exterminator. It was sent 3 days after they destroyed our ship. Carter read the alien text as Amy's computer translated it in real time. The words made his jaw clench with fury. The human contamination has been successfully contained at Source Point Alpha Centauri. Recommend immediate implementation of Protocol 7 for complete sterilization of Sol system. The humans showed typical pattern of rapid advancement and aggressive expansion drives. If allowed to spread, they will follow the same development path as the Kythera and other cleansed species. Amy switched to another file. There's more, sir. Much more. I've found references to 17 different species that were subjected to what they call contamination protocols. Each one was contacted peacefully, studied for weaknesses, then completely destroyed. The captain pulled up a holographic display showing the galaxy with red markers scattered across different sectors. These are the locations where they eliminated other civilizations. The pattern is always the same. First contact, false friendship, detailed intelligence gathering, then total extermination disguised as accidents or system failures. Carter studied the display with growing anger. How long have they been doing this? Based on the timestamps. In their archives, at least 3,000 Earth years. They've turned genocide into a science, Admiral. They study each species until they understand exactly how to destroy them most efficiently. Amy opened another file that made her hands shake as she read it. This one is about us specifically. They've been watching humanity for over 80 years, ever since we first developed radio technology. They know about our wars, our expansion patterns, our technological development rate. They're terrified of us. She highlighted a section of the alien text. Listen to this. Human aggression patterns exceed all previous contamination events. Their advancement rate suggests they will achieve interstellar military capability within 50 cycles. Their social structure promotes individual initiative and questioning of authority. This species represents an existential threat to Council stability. Recommend immediate implementation of extinction protocols before they can spread beyond their origin system. Carter read the passage twice, his anger building with each word. They're afraid of us because we think for ourselves and advance too quickly. It gets worse, Amy continued. I found their detailed plan for destroying Earth. They call it the Final Cleansing Protocol. They were going to use our own diplomatic mission to map our defenses, then follow up with a massive strike fleet to destroy every human settlement in the solar system. The captain showed Carter another document filled with technical specifications and battle plans. They have detailed intelligence on our major cities, our industrial centers, even our defensive installations, at least the ones they know about. Admiral Carter smiled grimly. The ones they know about. That's the key phrase there, Captain. He turned to the communication console. Get me General Pete Williams immediately. Tell him it's time to activate Shadow Strike. While they waited for the connection, Amy continued decoding the alien files. Each new discovery painted a clearer picture of the Council's true nature. They weren't advanced peacekeepers maintaining galactic order. They were exterminators who eliminated any species that might challenge their control. Admiral, I'm also finding evidence that not all Council species agree with these policies, Amy reported. There are several communications from something called the Keltheran Empire expressing concerns about the extinction protocols. They seem to believe the Council leadership has been lying to them about the reasons for these actions. General Williams appeared on the main screen, his weathered face serious. Admiral, Captain, I understand we're moving to the next phase. Carter nodded. Pete, it's time to show the Council what human military capability really looks like. How long until our assets are fully operational? 48 hours for the primary installations. Another week for full deployment of all hidden forces. Our friends out there think they know what we're capable of based on our public military. They're about to get a very unpleasant surprise. Amy looked up from her console. General, I should warn you that they're already planning their next move. I intercepted a communication ordering a massive fleet buildup in the Vega system. They're assembling enough ships to sterilize our entire solar system. Williams nodded calmly. Let them. Come. We've been preparing for this scenario for 5 decades. Every asteroid base, every hidden weapon platform, every experimental technology we've developed in secret has been designed for one purpose: to make sure humanity survives when the universe tries to kill us. The general's expression hardened. The Council made one critical mistake when they decided to exterminate us. They assumed we would fight like the other species they've destroyed. Desperate, confused, unprepared. Carter leaned forward. What they don't understand is that humans have been planning for hostile first contact since we first looked at the stars. We've always known that any species advanced enough to travel between stars might see us as a threat. Amy pulled up another alien communication, this one more recent. Sirs, you should see this. It's a message from the Council leadership to their member species, sent yesterday. The translation appeared on screen. The human contamination attempt has been successfully neutralized. All species should maintain normal operations and prepare for the celebration of another successful cleansing. The galaxy remains pure and ordered under Council guidance. Carter's eyes blazed with fury. They're telling their people that we're already dead, that they've successfully committed genocide against the entire human race. Williams smiled coldly. Then they won't be expecting what comes next. Amy, how many species received that message? Over 200 different civilizations, sir, the entire Council membership. Good, Williams said. When we start hitting their installations, when their fleets start burning, every one of those species will know that the Council lied to them. They'll learn that humanity doesn't die quietly. Carter turned to Amy. Captain, I want you to prepare a complete intelligence package on Council military capabilities, command structures, and strategic weaknesses. We're not just going to defend ourselves against these monsters. Amy felt a chill of anticipation. What are your orders, sir? We're going to hunt them down and make them pay for every species they've murdered. The Council thinks they've successfully exterminated humanity. Instead, they've just created their worst nightmare, an angry human military with detailed intelligence on their operations and nothing left to lose. Carter looked at the star map showing the locations of the Council's previous genocides. For 17 civilizations that will never see another sunrise because of Council lies. For every family, every child, every dream they destroyed in the name of their perfect order. He turned back to the command center filled with determined human officers. It's time to teach the galaxy why you should never lie to humanity about your intentions. Because when humans discover the truth, we don't just get even. We make sure it never happens again. Colonel Kate Barnes stood on the observation deck of asteroid base Ragnarok, watching as massive warships emerged from their hidden hangars carved deep into the space rock. For 40 years, this base had been humanity's most closely guarded secret, hidden in the asteroid belt and disguised as a mining operation. Now, as emergency klaxons echoed through the corridors, the truth was finally revealed. Ragnarok wasn't a mining station. It was the largest military shipyard in human space, capable of building and maintaining a fleet that could challenge any galactic power. Kate, how long until the Terra Nova-class ships are ready for deployment? Asked General Pete Williams through her communication implant. Barnes checked her tactical display. The first squadron will be ready in 6 hours, General. All 12 dreadnoughts are fully armed and crewed. The Council intelligence files never mentioned anything like these ships existing. She walked along the massive viewing windows, watching as the kilometer-long warships moved out of their berths. Each Terra Nova-class vessel carried enough firepower to devastate a planet, equipped with experimental weapons that Earth's public military didn't even know existed. Dr. Matt Sullivan appeared beside her, his face showing the exhaustion of 3 sleepless days preparing his antimatter torpedo arrays. "Kate, we're loading the last of the warheads now. Each dreadnought carries 200 antimatter torpedoes. That's enough destructive power to crack a moon." Barnes nodded grimly. "The Council thinks they know what human technology looks like, based on our public ships. They've never seen anything like what we've built in secret." Across the base, Captain Holly Pierce was conducting final checks on her stealth reconnaissance fleet. 20 ships that were completely invisible to known alien sensor technology, capable of gathering intelligence deep in enemy territory without being detected. "Colonel Barnes, this is Pierce," came the captain's voice over the communication system. "My scouts are ready to deploy. We can have real-time intelligence on Council fleet movements within 72 hours. Kate activated the base-wide communication system. "All personnel, this is Colonel Barnes. Today we reveal to the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of when threatened with extinction. The Council made the mistake of thinking we would be easy, prey like the 17 other species they murdered." She looked out at the growing fleet assembling in space around the asteroid. "They studied our public capabilities and decided we were weak enough to eliminate safely. They never imagined that humans would spend decades preparing for exactly this scenario." In the base's command center, Admiral Ron Carter was coordinating with hidden installations throughout the solar system. "Barnes, what's the status of the civilian evacuation?" 90% complete, Admiral. Emergency shelters on Luna, Mars, and the outer colonies are ready to house the entire Earth population if necessary. Every major city has underground facilities that can survive orbital bombardment." Carter smiled with grim satisfaction. "The Council's psychological profile said humans would panic and fight each other when faced with extinction. Instead, our people are working together better than ever. They don't understand human nature at all." Kate received an urgent message from Earth's surface. The civilian population was responding to the crisis with determination rather than despair. Factories were converting to military production in record time. Scientists were volunteering to work on advanced weapons projects. Even children were helping with evacuation efforts and resource management. "General Williams, this is Barnes. Our production facilities are exceeding all projections. We'll have 50% more weapons and ships ready than originally planned." Williams appeared on her communication screen from his command post on Mars. "Outstanding." The Council expected to find a confused, frightened species. Instead, they're facing humanity at full military mobilization for the first time in our history. Dr. Sullivan joined the conversation from the weapons deck. "I've been analyzing the Council's attack patterns from their previous genocides. They rely on overwhelming initial strikes to break enemy morale, then systematic destruction of population centers." He brought up tactical displays showing alien fleet formations. "The problem is that their tactics assume the enemy will fight conventionally. They've never faced an opponent that prepared specifically for hostile first contact." Kate studied the alien attack patterns with professional interest. "What weaknesses do you see, Doctor?" "Their ships are designed for intimidation as much as combat. They're large, heavily armed, but not particularly maneuverable. Our Terra Nova-class vessels are smaller but much faster and more agile." Sullivan highlighted specific sections of the enemy ships. "More importantly, their weapons are optimized for destroying fixed targets like planets and space stations. They're not designed for ship-to-ship combat against opponents who know they're coming." Captain Pierce's voice crackled through the communication system from her stealth ship. I'm seeing massive Council fleet buildups in the Vega and Proxima systems. At least 3,000 ships moving toward our solar system. They're planning to end this with one overwhelming strike. Kate felt a cold smile cross her face. Let them come. They expect to find Earth's population cowering in fear, our military forces confused and overwhelmed. She activated the tactical display showing humanity's true defensive capabilities. Hidden weapon platforms throughout the solar system, stealth fleets positioned in deep space, experimental weapons that could manipulate gravity and space-time itself. Instead, they're going to fly into the most sophisticated military trap in galactic history. Admiral Carter's voice came through the communication system, addressing all human forces simultaneously. All units, this is Carter. The Council has been watching us for 80 years, studying our weaknesses, planning our extinction. They think they understand humanity. The Admiral's voice grew harder. They don't understand that every human knows the story of David and Goliath. They don't comprehend that we've been preparing for this fight since we first looked at the stars and wondered if anything out there might want to hurt us. Kate looked around the command center, seeing the determined faces of humanity's finest, military personnel. These weren't soldiers fighting for conquest or glory. They were defenders protecting their species from genocidal exterminators. The Council believes that bigger always wins, that advanced technology guarantees victory, that superior numbers make success inevitable. She activated the final weapon systems, watching as indicators turned green across the tactical display. They're about to learn why humans became the dominant species on a planet full of bigger, stronger predators. We don't win because we're the biggest or the strongest. The first Terra Nova dreadnought cleared the asteroid field and began its journey toward the edge of the solar system. Behind it, dozens more ships followed, their crews ready for the fight of their lives. We win because we're smarter, more adaptable, and we never ever give up. The Council wanted to exterminate humanity because we advanced too quickly and questioned authority too much. Kate smiled as she watched humanity's secret fleet deploy for battle. They're about to discover that those same traits make us very, very dangerous when someone tries to wipe us out. Dr. Sullivan looked up from his weapons console. Colonel, all antimatter torpedo arrays are armed and ready. If the Council wants a fight, we'll give them one they'll never forget. Assuming any of them survive to remember it, Kate replied, watching as the last of humanity's hidden forces moved into position. Admiral Jake Morrison gripped the command chair aboard the Terra Nova dreadnought Liberty as his fleet approached Council Station Omega-7. The massive alien outpost hung in space like a metallic spider, its weapons pointed toward Earth's solar. System 2, light years away. All ships, this is Morrison. Today we show the Council what happens when you lie to humanity about your intentions. Behind him, Captain Drew Taylor's stealth squadron had already infiltrated the station's perimeter, invisible to alien sensors. The Council believed their base was safely protected by advanced shields and automated defenses. They had no idea that 20 human ships were already inside their security net. Admiral, this is Taylor. We're in position. The station's defenses are exactly as described in the captured intelligence files. They haven't changed their security protocols in over 1,000 years. Morrison studied the tactical display showing the Council station. It was enormous, easily 10 times larger than Earth's biggest space installations. Hundreds of alien ships docked at its ports. Thousands of Council personnel working inside its armored hull. Taylor, what do you see in their database cores? Sir, we're accessing their main computers now. You're not going to believe what we're finding. Dr. Lisa Harper, who had insisted on joining the mission despite her injuries from the Meridian massacre, worked frantically at her xenobiology station. She had spent weeks learning to interface with alien computer systems, driven by the need to understand her attackers. "Admiral, I'm into their historical archives," Lisa reported. "Taylor was right. This is unbelievable." She transferred the alien data to Morrison's command screen. File after file of detailed records showing the systematic extinction of 17 different civilizations. The Council kept meticulous records of each genocide, treating the murder of entire species like business transactions. "Look at this one," Lisa said, her voice shaking with rage. "The Kithera were a peaceful species of artists and philosophers. The Council destroyed them because their cultural influence was spreading to other worlds. They called it aesthetic contamination that threatened proper thinking." Morrison read through more files, each one more horrifying than the last. The Viridian Empire had been eliminated because they asked too many questions about Council authority. The Zephyran Collective was destroyed for developing faster-than-light communication that could connect distant species without Council oversight. Every single extinction was based on lies, Morrison said. They told their member species that these civilizations were dangerous, aggressive, or diseased. But the real reason was always the same. These species threatened Council control by being too independent. Captain Taylor's voice crackled through the communication system. "Admiral, we found something else. Current operational plans. The Council isn't just planning to destroy Earth. They're preparing to eliminate 12 more species over the next 50 years. Morrison felt cold fury building in his chest. "Which species?" "The Keltharan Empire is first on the list. They've been questioning Council policies and demanding evidence of human aggression. After that, the Altarian Federation, the Centauri Republic, and 9 others. All for the same crime, thinking for themselves." Lisa looked up from her console, with tears of rage in her eyes. "Jake, they have detailed psychological profiles on every species in the galaxy. They study each one until they understand exactly how to manipulate and eventually destroy them." She showed him an alien document that made his hands clench into fists. "This is their analysis of humanity. They say we're the most dangerous species they've ever encountered because we combine rapid technological advancement with refusal to accept authority without question." Morrison read the Council's assessment of human psychology. They feared humanity's ability to adapt and innovate under pressure. They were terrified of human military doctrine that emphasized individual initiative and creative tactics. Most of all, they were afraid of humanity's tendency to question everything and trust nothing without proof. "Taylor, how much longer until you can download their complete database?" 10 minutes, sir. "But Admiral, their security systems are starting to notice our intrusion. We need to move soon." Morrison activated the fleet communication system. "All ships, prepare for attack. Today we prove to the galaxy that the Council's lies end here." The Terra Nova's weapon systems came online, targeting the station's shield generators and communication arrays. Around the fleet, 11 other dreadnoughts, prepared to unleash the full fury of humanity's advanced military technology. "Fire," Morrison ordered. Space lit up with the deadly light of antimatter torpedoes and plasma cannons. The Council station's shields collapsed under the concentrated firepower of human weapons that were decades ahead of anything the aliens expected Earth to possess. Captain Taylor's stealth ships struck simultaneously from inside the stations. Defenses, their surprise attack crippling critical systems before the aliens could respond. The Council's mighty fortress began to break apart under the precision assault. "Sir, we're receiving panicked communications from the station," reported Lieutenant Mike Rogers from the communication station. They're calling for reinforcements and trying to warn other Council forces about our true capabilities. Morrison smiled grimly. Too late for that. Taylor, what's the status of the database download? Complete, Admiral. We have everything. Every extinction protocol, every psychological profile, every plan for future genocides. The galaxy is going to learn exactly what the Council really is. As the station began to explode around them, alien escape pods scattered in all directions. Morrison had given orders to allow survivors to flee. He wanted witnesses to carry word of humanity's response back to the Council leadership. All ships, prepare to broadcast on all Council frequencies, Morrison commanded. When the channel opened, Morrison's voice carried across Council space with cold determination. To all species of the Galactic Council, for 3,000 years, your leaders have lied to you about the extinction of 17 civilizations. Today, you learn the truth. He transmitted the captured database to every Council world simultaneously. The Kythera, the Viridians, the Zephrins, and 14 other species were not dangerous. They were not diseased. They were not aggressive. They were murdered because they questioned Council authority. Lisa took over the transmission, her voice carrying the pain of someone who had watched her friends die for Council lies. Humanity was next on their list, along with the Keltheran Empire and 11 other species. Your leaders planned to exterminate us all while telling you we were threats to galactic peace. Morrison resumed the broadcast as the last of the Council station disappeared in nuclear fire. The Council wanted to cleanse the galaxy of human contamination. Instead, they have created something they never expected: an angry human military with complete knowledge of their crimes. He looked directly into the camera, his eyes hard as steel. We are not your enemies. We never were. Your leaders are the enemy of every free-thinking species in this galaxy, and we are coming for them. The transmission ended, leaving the fleet floating in the debris field that had once been the Council's most heavily fortified outpost. Around them, the wreckage of alien ships and installations bore witness to the price of lying to humanity. Admiral, we're detecting massive communications traffic throughout Council space, reported Rogers. Every member species is demanding explanations from the leadership. Morrison nodded with satisfaction. The truth has a way of spreading quickly once it's released. Set course for the next Council installation. We have 16 more genocides to avenge. As the human fleet disappeared into hyperspace, the few surviving Council officers floating in their escape pods stared at the destruction around them. They had believed their leaders' propaganda about weak, primitive humans who could be easily exterminated. Now they understood the terrible truth. The Council hadn't declared war on a helpless species. They had awakened humanity's protective instincts and turned the galaxy's most dangerous predators loose on their own forces. Supreme Council Leader Thranduil stood before the emergency assembly in the Grand Chamber on Nexus Prime, his 6 arms trembling with rage and fear. The massive hall that had witnessed 3,000 years of Council dominance now echoed with angry voices from over 200 member species. Order, order! Thranduil's translator boomed across the chamber. The human contamination broadcasts are filled with lies designed to destabilize our perfect galactic harmony. But his words fell on deaf ears. Representative Keltheran Commander Vexthul rose from his delegation's seating area, his warriors bearing making other species step back respectfully. Supreme Leader, my people have analyzed the data transmitted by the humans. The quantum encryption signatures prove these files came directly from Council military archives. Are you claiming our own records are fabricated? Thranduil's confidence wavered. The Keltheran Empire controlled 40 star systems and possessed one of the galaxy's most advanced militaries. Their support was crucial for Council stability. The humans are clever deceivers, Commander. They have clearly manipulated our data to create false evidence of non-existent extinction protocols. A new voice cut through the chamber. Altarian. Federation speaker Zin Ara activated her hovering platform to address the assembly. Supreme Leader, if these protocols do not exist, then you will have no objection to opening all Council military archives for independent review? The chamber erupted in approval from dozens of species. Thrandiel felt control slipping away as his carefully constructed lies began to crumble under scrutiny from the galaxy's most intelligent civilizations. Such a review would compromise operational security during this crisis, he responded weakly. Commander Vexthul's laugh was cold and humorless. What crisis? You told us the human contamination was successfully eliminated. Yet somehow these extinct humans have destroyed 3 Council military installations and broadcast classified information across the entire galaxy. More voices joined the growing rebellion against Council authority. The Centauri Republic demanded proof of human aggression. The Arcturus Collective questioned why 17 species had been eliminated without democratic approval. The Vegan Commonwealth called for immediate suspension of all military operations pending investigation. In the depths of the Council military headquarters, Fleet Commander Vextar watched the political chaos on his monitors while coordinating the largest military operation in galactic history. 3,000 ships from 50 different species were converging on Earth's solar system for what the Council privately called Operation Final Cleansing. Admiral Kython, status of the extermination fleet, Vextar demanded. The insectoid admiral clicked his mandibles nervously. All vessels are en route to the human system. However, Commander, we are receiving disturbing reports from our advanced scouts. Vextar's scaled face showed irritation. What kind of reports? The humans appear to have significantly more advanced military capabilities than our intelligence indicated. The destruction of Station Omega-7 required weapons technology at least 50 years ahead of what we believed they possessed. Admiral Kython activated a holographic display showing the wreckage of the Council outpost. Our forensic analysis indicates the humans used antimatter weapons, gravity manipulation devices, and stealth technology that should be impossible for such a young species. Vextar studied the display with growing unease. The Council's entire strategy depended on overwhelming the humans before they could organize effective resistance. If the enemy possessed advanced weapons, the extermination fleet might face serious opposition. How much advanced technology could they possibly have? They have only achieved interstellar travel within the last century. Commander, our psychological profile suggested humans would panic and fight ineffectively when faced with extinction. Instead, their response has been coordinated, systematic, and tactically superior to our expectations. Meanwhile, on the bridge of his flagship dreadnought Vengeance, Admiral Jake Morrison studied intelligence reports from Captain Holly Pierce's reconnaissance fleet. The Council was mobilizing every available warship for a massive strike against Earth, exactly as human military planners had predicted. Holly, what's the enemy fleet composition? Pierce's voice came through the quantum communication array. 3,000 ships from 50 different species. The Council has convinced most of their members that humanity represents an existential threat to galactic civilization. Morrison felt grim satisfaction. What they told those species about us? Standard contamination propaganda. Humans are described as violent, rapidly expanding, and determined to dominate other civilizations. The same lies they used to justify The previous 17 genocides. Dr. Lisa Harper looked up from her analysis station. Jake, I've been studying the psychological profiles the Council created for their member species. They use different lies for different civilizations based on what each species fears most. She showed him the alien manipulation techniques on her display. They tell warrior cultures that humans are cowards who will corrupt their honor. They tell peaceful species that humans are violent aggressors. They tell technological societies that humans are primitive but dangerously unpredictable. Morrison shook his head in disgust. They've turned genocide into a science. Each extinction is carefully planned using detailed psychological warfare. The good news is that their lies are starting to unravel, Lisa continued. Several species are questioning why humans could destroy Council installations if we're supposed to be primitive and weak. Commander Sarah Mitchell's voice crackled through from Earth's command center. Admiral, we're detecting massive civil unrest on 12 Council worlds. The Keltharan Empire has withdrawn its forces from the extermination fleet. 3 other species are demanding immediate ceasefire negotiations. Morrison smiled coldly. The truth spreads faster than their lies. How long until the main Council fleet reaches our solar system? 6 days, sir. But Jake, there's something else. Our deep space sensors are detecting a second fleet moving from the opposite direction. The Council is planning a 2-pronged attack to ensure we can't escape. Morrison studied the tactical display showing enemy fleet movements. The Council was committing everything to humanity's destruction, convinced that eliminating Earth would end the spreading rebellion among their member species. Sarah, activate the Prometheus Protocol. It's time to show them what human desperation really looks like. The Prometheus Protocol was humanity's most classified contingency plan, developed specifically for the scenario they now faced. Overwhelming enemy forces attempting to destroy Earth itself. It involved weapons and tactics so extreme that they had been classified beyond even the highest military clearances. Admiral, implementing Prometheus will change the nature of galactic warfare permanently, Sarah warned. Once we use these weapons, there's no going back to conventional conflict. Morrison looked out at the stars, thinking of the 17 species that had been exterminated by Council lies. They chose this path when they decided that genocide was acceptable as long as it maintained their power. We're not changing the nature of galactic warfare, Sarah. We're ending it. Dr. Harper received an urgent transmission from the alien monitoring stations. Jake, I'm picking up communications from the Council leadership to their fleet commanders. They're ordering immediate implementation of planetary destruction protocols the moment they enter our solar system. Morrison felt cold anger settle in his chest. No negotiations, no surrender options, complete extermination. They're afraid that if any humans survive, we'll continue spreading the truth about their crimes. They want to eliminate every man, woman, and child of our species to protect their lives. Morrison activated the communication system to address all human forces throughout the solar system. All units, this is Morrison. The Council fleet will arrive in 6 days with orders to destroy every human life in our solar system. They believe that our extinction will end the rebellion spreading across their empire. He paused, letting his words sink in across the fleet. They're about to learn that killing humans doesn't stop human ideas. It just makes sure those ideas spread with the fury of a species that refuses to die quietly. President Alan Cooper stood at the podium in the emergency session hall beneath Washington, D.C., facing the assembled leaders of humanity's nations. Above ground, cities across Earth were completing their final evacuations as millions of people descended into fortified underground shelters. My fellow humans, Cooper began, his voice carrying across the planet through every communication network. In 6 hours, the largest invasion fleet in galactic history will enter our solar system with orders to exterminate every man, woman, and child of our species. He paused, looking at the faces of world leaders who had put aside centuries of national differences to face this ultimate threat together. The Galactic Council has decided that humanity's crime of thinking freely and advancing rapidly deserves the death penalty. Cooper activated the display showing the approaching enemy fleet. 3,000 alien warships arranged in perfect formations, their weapons charged and ready to burn Earth's surface clean of human life. They believe that by destroying us, they will end the revolution spreading across their empire. They think that fear of human weapons will die with the last human soldier. President Cooper's expression hardened. They are about to learn that they understand nothing about human nature, because humanity has never been about any one planet, any one generation, or any one military force. In orbit around Earth, Admiral Sawab Ben Tucker stood on the bridge of the Terra Nova dreadnought Defiance, coordinating the defense of humanity's home system. Around him, the largest human military fleet ever assembled prepared for the battle that would determine their species' survival. General Ross, status of the planetary defense grid, Tucker requested. General Nina Ross appeared on his communication screen from the Luna Command Center. All gravity manipulation platforms are online and ready. Dr. Emma Stone's gravitational weapons are positioned at strategic points throughout the system. Tucker studied the tactical display showing hidden human installations across the solar system. Weapon platforms disguised as asteroids. Stealth ships positioned in deep space. Experimental technology that could bend space and time itself. Nina, how many civilians did we evacuate? 98% of Earth's population is in secure underground facilities. Mars colonies are sealed and protected. The outer settlements have been evacuated to deep space shelters. Tucker nodded with grim satisfaction. When the Council fleet arrives, they'll find a solar system that looks almost empty. They'll think we're hiding in fear. Instead, they'll be flying into the most sophisticated military trap in galactic history, Ross replied. Every asteroid, every piece of space debris, every apparently empty region of space contains weapon systems they don't know exist. Dr. Emma Stone worked frantically in her laboratory on Europa, making final adjustments to the gravity manipulation network that surrounded Earth's solar system. Her experimental weapons could create artificial black holes, bend space-time, and manipulate the fundamental forces of physics. Admiral Tucker, this is Stone. The gravitational field generators are ready for activation. Once we trigger them, the Council fleet will find themselves dealing with localized gravity wells that can trap or crush their ships. Tucker smiled coldly. How many ships can your system handle? In theory, we can create enough gravitational anomalies to affect their entire fleet simultaneously. The Council has never faced weapons that manipulate space-time itself. Across the galaxy, the rebellion against Council authority continued to spread. On the Keltharan homeworld, Commander Vexthul addressed his military council with growing anger. The Council has lied to us for 3,000 years. 17 peaceful species have been murdered while we were told they were dangerous aggressors. Now they demand that we participate in the genocide of humanity based on the same lies. His military advisors shifted uncomfortably. The Keltharan Empire had provided ships for the Council's extermination fleet based on false information about human aggression. Commander, our vessels are already en route to the human system. What are your orders? Vexthul stood and activated his personal communication array. All Keltheran ships in the Council fleet, this is your Supreme Commander. You are ordered to withdraw immediately and return to home space. We will not participate in genocide based on Council lies. On 12 different worlds, similar scenes played out as species began questioning their participation in humanity's planned extinction. The truth about the Council's crimes was spreading faster than their ability to contain it. But Supreme Council, Leader Thranduil was determined to end the rebellion by eliminating its source. Fleet Commander Vextar, proceed with final cleansing protocol. The complete extinction of humanity will demonstrate the price of questioning Council authority. Vextar received the order aboard his flagship as the massive alien fleet approached the edge of Earth's solar system. Around him, 3,000 ships representing the military, might of 50 different civilizations, prepared to destroy a single young species. All vessels, this is Fleet Commander Vextar. The human contamination ends today. Implement planetary sterilization protocols the moment we achieve orbital position around their homeworld. Captain Tony Reed sat in the cockpit of his fighter, as human squadrons prepared for the largest space battle in their history. Around him, thousands of human pilots made final checks on their weapons and life support systems. All fighters, this is Reed. Remember what we're fighting for. Every human child in the underground shelters. Every family that trusted us to protect them. Every dream of a future among the stars. Reed looked out at the approaching alien fleet, their ships gleaming like metal death in the starlight. The Council thinks superior numbers guarantee victory. They think advanced technology makes defeat impossible. He activated his weapons systems and felt the familiar hum of human engineering at its finest. They're about to learn why humans became the dominant species on a planet full of bigger, stronger predators. We don't win because we're the biggest or the strongest. Commander Lori Adams coordinated the capital ship assault from her position aboard the dreadnought Liberty. The human fleet was outnumbered 10-1, but every ship carried weapons the Council had never imagined Earth could produce. All capital. Ships, this is Adams. The enemy expects us to fight defensively, protecting our homeworld from fixed positions. Instead, we're going to hit them with everything we have while they're still trying to figure out what they're facing. She watched as the first Council ships entered the outer edge of the solar system, their sensors beginning to detect the hidden human installations scattered throughout local space. The Council studied our psychology for 80 years. They think they understand how humans respond to overwhelming odds. Adams smiled as she prepared to give the order that would begin humanity's desperate stand. They're about to discover that their psychological profiles were based on humans at peace. They've never seen what we become when someone threatens our children. President Cooper's voice reached every human in the solar system through quantum communication arrays. To every man and woman preparing to fight for our species' survival. The Council came to our galaxy as exterminators, convinced that lies and superior numbers would be enough to destroy us. He looked directly into the camera, his eyes reflecting the determination of an entire species. They leave as examples of why you don't threaten human families. Today we show the galaxy that some contaminations grow stronger when you try to burn them out. The Council fleet completed its entry into the solar system, their sensors finally detecting the true scope of human defensive preparations. 3,000 alien ships faced a solar system that had been turned into a fortress, every asteroid and planet armed with weapons beyond their understanding. Fleet Commander Vexitar stared at his tactical display in disbelief. This is impossible. How could such a young species possess this level of military technology? His communications officer looked up from his console with fear in his eyes. Commander, we're detecting gravitational anomalies throughout the system. Something is manipulating space-time itself. Vextar realized too late that the Council had made a terrible mistake. They had come to exterminate helpless prey and instead found themselves facing the most dangerous predators their galaxy had ever produced. The largest space battle in galactic history began when the first Council ship crossed the orbit of Pluto and triggered humanity's outer detection grid. Instantly, space around the alien fleet erupted with weapons fire from hidden platforms that had been disguised as asteroids and space debris. Fleet Commander Vextar watched in horror as his advanced scouts disappeared in flashes of antimatter explosions. All ships, evasive maneuvers. The humans have weaponized their entire solar system. Admiral Ben Tucker coordinated the human defense from his flagship, watching as the carefully planned trap began to close around the Council fleet. All units, execute Omega Protocol. Show them what human military engineering can accomplish when we have 50 years to prepare. Captain Tony Reed led the first wave of human fighters against the massive alien fleet, his squadron diving through enemy formations like wolves attacking a herd. The Council ships were designed for intimidation and overwhelming firepower against fixed targets, not for dogfighting against agile opponents who knew they were coming. Reed to all fighters: target their sensor arrays and communication systems. Make them blind and deaf before the capital ships arrive. Human fighters swarmed around Council vessels 10 times their size, using superior speed and maneuverability to avoid the aliens' heavy weapons while striking at critical systems. The enemy had never faced opponents who treated massive warships like obstacles to be outmaneuvered rather than threats to be feared. Dr. Emma Stone activated the gravitational manipulation network from her control station on Europa. Across the solar system, hidden gravity generators created localized space-time distortions that trapped entire Council formations in artificial gravity wells. Admiral Tucker, this is Stone. I'm creating gravitational anomalies around their heavy cruiser squadrons. They're experiencing localized gravity fields equivalent to a neutron star. Tucker watched as a dozen Council ships found themselves unable to escape invisible gravitational traps that crushed their hulls like tin cans. Outstanding work, Doctor. How many more can you trap? The network can generate 50 simultaneous gravity wells. Every Council ship that enters the inner system will face the choice between destruction and retreat. Commander Lori Adams led the capital ship assault from her dreadnought, coordinating devastating strikes against Council command vessels. Human antimatter torpedoes punched through alien shields that were designed to stop conventional energy weapons. All dreadnoughts focus fire on their flagship, take out their command structure, and watch their coordination collapse. The Terra Nova-class ships moved with a grace that shocked the Council fleet. Instead of the slow, ponderous movements typical of capital ships, human dreadnoughts fought like oversized fighters, using advanced propulsion systems to dance around enemy formations while delivering devastating firepower. Fleet Commander Vextar struggled to maintain control as his carefully organized battle formations disintegrated under the human assault. How are they moving so fast? Capital ships of that size should not be capable of such maneuvers. His tactical officer checked the sensor readings again. Commander, their technology is unlike anything in our databases. They're using propulsion, systems that manipulate gravitational fields directly rather than relying on conventional thrust. Admiral Kython's insectoid fleet tried to implement standard Council attack patterns, only to discover that human forces refused to fight conventionally. Instead of meeting the alien fleet head-on, human ships used the solar system's geography against their enemies. Admiral Tucker, this is Captain Pierce. My stealth squadrons are in position behind their formation. The Council fleet is so focused on your frontal assault that they never noticed us coming up from behind. Tucker smiled grimly. Execute flanking. Maneuver, Holly. Show them what happens when they ignore human tactical doctrine. Captain Holly Pierce's invisible ships struck from behind, targeting the Council fleet's supply vessels and support ships. Without their logistics tail, the massive alien fleet began to lose coordination as fuel and ammunition ran low. General Nina Ross coordinated the defense of Earth itself from her Luna Command Center, watching as the first Council ships broke through the outer defenses and approached humanity's homeworld. All planetary defense platforms prepare for surface bombardment protocols. The enemy is about to discover that Earth is the most heavily fortified planet in the galaxy. Hidden weapon installations across Earth's surface came online, revealing defensive capabilities that made the planet itself into a massive fortress. Energy shields protected major population centers, while orbital defense platforms created an impenetrable barrier around humanity's birth world. Dr. Eric Stone, Emma's brother working on Mars, activated his experimental weapons array as Council ships approached the Red Planet. Admiral Tucker, this is Eric Stone, activating quantum displacement cannons, targeting their heavy battle group approaching Mars orbit. Space folded in on itself as Stone's weapons created localized distortions in reality. Council ships found themselves displaced into empty space light years away from the battle, their crews struggling to understand what had happened to them. Displacement successful. 27 enemy vessels removed from the battlefield without destroying them. They're now approximately 4 light years away and will require weeks to return to Council space. The tide of battle began to turn as human innovations overcame alien numerical superiority. Council formations that had been perfected over thousands of years crumbled against human tactics that treated space warfare like a three-dimensional chess game. Fleet Commander Vextar received increasingly desperate reports from his squadron commanders. Sir, the humans are using weapons that manipulate fundamental forces. We have no defense against gravitational manipulation and space-time distortion. Admiral Kython's flagship shuddered under human antimatter bombardment. Fleet Commander, recommend immediate withdrawal. We are facing military technology at least a century ahead of our capabilities. But Vextar had received direct orders from Supreme Council Leader Thrandiel. Retreat was not an option. The complete extermination of humanity was required to maintain. Council authority, all ships, implement final protocol. If we cannot defeat the humans conventionally, we will use planet-killer weapons to sterilize their worlds directly. The Council fleet's massive siege ships began charging their ultimate weapons, designed to crack planets and boil away atmospheres. But as they prepared to destroy Earth and Mars, they discovered that humanity had one more surprise waiting for them. Commander Sarah Mitchell activated the solar system's most closely guarded secret from her position on Titan. Admiral Tucker, this is Mitchell. Solar Lance Array is online and ready to fire. Around the sun itself, massive satellites that had been disguised as solar research stations revealed their true purpose. They were components of a weapon system that could focus the sun's energy into coherent beams capable of destroying entire fleets. Sarah, you are authorized to fire, Tucker commanded. The sun itself seemed to reach out and touch the Council fleet with fingers of pure energy. Planet-killer ships designed to withstand any conventional weapon vaporized instantly under focused stellar fury. Fleet Commander Vextar watched his most powerful vessels disappear in flashes of solar fire. Impossible. They have weaponized their own star. Captain Tony Reed's voice crackled through the communication system as human fighters continued their assault. Council Fleet, this is Captain Reed of the Human Defense Force. Your leaders lied to you about our nature and capabilities. We offer surrender to any ship that withdraws immediately. Across the alien fleet, individual commanders began making their own decisions. Ships from 6 different species broke formation and retreated toward the edge of the system. Others continued fighting, but their coordination was collapsing as the truth about the Council's lies spread through their ranks. Admiral Ben Tucker surveyed the battlefield from his command center, watching as the largest invasion fleet in Galactic history disintegrated under human weapons and tactics. All units, continue the assault. Today we prove that some species refuse to be exterminated quietly.